Hello and welcome to the Halloween episode of The Grindbin. I'm Mike Wood.
I'm Chris Mann.
Today we have quite a special treat for everybody.
A spooktacular disappointment, if you will.
We thought most podcasts always seem to cover popular horror movies during this time of year, so why don't we cover not only a very unpopular movie, but possibly the worst movie.
I would say it's just notorious in its own right.
And if you don't know by now, we're talking about 1987's Tales from the Quadead Zone.
Another Nobel Turner classic.
Hey, Bobby, I got the money.
Yeah, I made the team. But you're a hooker.
Get that goddamn thing out of your mouth.
Spooky ain't got no real poetry.
Hello, pizza man.
We're gonna play a little game, baby.
I just love funny games. Get a little girl all hot and horny.
You could have been decent once in a while. And maybe Daddy wouldn't have had to kill himself because he couldn't get us up anymore.
What a shame.
Come on, just step on the gas before we get creepy.
So, listeners of this podcast will instantly recognize the name of this movie with another past episode, the one episode that Chris decided to pick a movie that neither of us had ever seen, just going off of a random thing he found on YouTube and was like, oh, this will be great.
Yeah.
Which was Black Devil Doll from Hell. Neither of us had seen it. We watched it, and the same day recorded an episode for, I would say, and if you've never seen Black Devil Doll from Hell, don't. But you can go ahead and look up some clips maybe on YouTube,
Yeah.
or you can watch the whole
The
damn
whole thing's
thing
on
if
there, yeah.
you really want to. We have.
Yeah, I mean, in reality, it is film history because Yale has this in its database now.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, you keep breaking my heart with this information. What?
Yeah, it is now part of the Yale filmography vault, if you will.
Just like the devil doll in the movie, it just won't fucking die. If you want to hear all about the filmmaker of this movie, you can refer back to the Black Devil Doll episode. But Chester Nobel Turner is a VHS auteur,
Yes.
we would say. He made 2 movies on a, I guess, rented camcorder back in the 80s and tried to apparently sell them for distribution on the home video market.
And succeeded.
And he made, you said he netted a loss of $8,000 for Black Devil Doll.
I don't know if it was that bad, but they made 1,000 and sold about 800.
Oh, so even worse, because the budget was $10,000
Yeah.
apparently.
Yeah.
And they made $1,000 on. He got $1,000 check, so he
That's
netted
right.
a $9,000 loss.
That's right. Okay, now I remember.
And you know what every movie director, producer, distributor, all in one says? Well, if the first one didn't make money, try again.
And I did gain some insight as to where that money went. Most of that was meant, basically went to all the talent, which was all of them. So there you go.
Well, and you
All
also
3 of
told
them.
me that they made up names to put in the credits.
Yes, for Black Devil Doll from Hell and Quadead Zone, the majority of those opening credits are all made up names because, like, production designer, they didn't have that because they said, well, no one's going to want to see a movie which is 3 people working on it. And yeah, I agree with that.
Now, you might be wondering, what is the quality level of Black Devil Dolls and
You have a good word
Tales
for
from
this.
the Quadead Zone? And I was telling Chris, I'd say, because we were talking about the movie, and I said, well, Quadead Zone is better than Black Devil Doll, but saying it's better is like saying, well, I mean, how do you describe something so terrible that it could barely even be viewed to begin with? I would say, like, Black Devil Doll from Hell is the most unwatchable thing I've ever seen, and that includes if you stumbled upon an old VHS of some father roaming around his child's birthday party, it's probably more entertaining than Black Devil Doll from Hell.
Yeah.
If you watch some Little League baseball game on a shaky camcorder with random zooms and pans, it would probably still make more sense than Black Devil Doll from Hell or Quadead Zone.
And there'd probably be a few Here Come the Boys in the background.
This movie, I would say, is on par with if you stumbled upon a VHS of an elementary school musical that some parent just put a camcorder in the back of the room on a tripod but forgot to focus. That's what I would say the entertainment level of Quadead Zone is. I managed to watch this movie in one sitting.
Yeah, me too.
And you also listened to the commentary, so Chris is so well versed in this movie.
Yeah, the commentary for Black Devil Doll, a lot more meaty tidbits, if you will. That kind of runs thin with the Quadead Zone. It's more a lot along the lines of, oh, do you remember that? Yeah. And then 5 seconds later, then there's something else. And but I proudly own both movies now. I bought the box set. Mike coerced me after saying, Chris, you owe us. You owe the listeners. You owe everybody after you've recommended Black Devil Doll from Hell. So it's your penance is you having to own these movies now. And to be honest, I am proud to own these movies.
So, because Chester Nobel Turner only made 2 movies in his whole life.
Yep.
Even though, oh God, did he warn us at the end of Quadead Zone that they will return, and thank God they didn't. But,
well, as of 2013, the script is being written for the Quadead Zone 2.
Let's hope somehow that hard drive gets lost.
So that the truck with the finished copy runs by a magnet factory. Erases it all, but
Do you think he'd still shoot it on VHS, or do you think he'd upgrade to like a red camera?
I would hope it was shot on VHS. And I gotta be honest, you may knock him, but I admire him for shooting his vision, his dream. He went and did it. I'll give him that. And he was able to get people to get distribution for it. And there's midnight screening. So I'll give him that. Good for him.
Chester Nobel Turner fits in a lot with another episode we have, which is Lost Faith.
Yeah.
Which is a man named Joel Wynkoop who wanted to make a Chuck Norris movie, so he just decided to film one himself, starring himself. You have to admire him, I guess.
Yeah.
They did it.
Yeah.
All of us dream of making a movie. Few of us ever have. So
there you go.
Good for you, Chester.
Yeah. Pat
But
on
we're
the
still
back.
going to rip your shit apart because this fucking movie. Oh, boy. So you got any more interesting tidbits before we actually dive into this bitch?
Well, it's more when we're going to start going into it. I got a few tidbits going into there. But basically, Quadead Zone, the first story, that took 3 days to shoot. And the house that it takes place in...
Wait, I'm sorry. The one shot? Like, you mean the first story in this movie?
Yeah, the first story with the house and the poor family.
That took 3 days?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was thinking more like an afternoon.
No, and the house that was filmed and nobody was living in it. So they just went in there and just decorated it up and dressed it up and made it look inhabited.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So... we would say this is the point of the podcast where we typically say, let's take a listen to the trailer. However, no official trailer exists. Somebody put up one for a screening that happened at one point, but there is no official trailer.
No.
So we'll just dive right into the movie. You can hear that beautiful soundtrack playing below us. The movie starts with the same type of credits as Black Devil Doll, of course. But this time it starts with a dedication to Chester's dad.
Yeah.
And I would just say...
I know it's coming. I know what you're going to say. Go ahead and say it.
I would just be rolling in my grave if this was dedicated to me. What were you going to say?
I was like, well, I'm glad. I thought you were going to say, well, I'm glad he wasn't alive to see it.
I'm sure he was a nice man. So
We're going to hell.
as the credits start, we get this bizarre, high-pitched voice that tells us, I guess, tries to introduce us to this movie.
Yes.
If you like your terror adult and strong, welcome here, you can't go wrong. Dolls will kill, the dead will too. It's all right here to entertain you.
I write down immediately, and if you haven't seen Black Devil Doll, please refer to that episode. It's a good one to start with if you're listening to this one. But Chester in Black Devil Doll from Hell had a good, what was that, about 8 minutes of opening credits?
I clocked it at about 6.5 minutes.
Yeah, it is unbearably long.
Yes.
Each credit stays on the screen for just minutes at a time. And apparently it was recut by the distributor, and they said they even shortened the credits, which...
Yeah, and added an alternate song.
Yeah.
So So it's like a more metal song, which, to be honest, I prefer the original. But for the intro credits for this, the voice singing is Chester.
Yeah, he wrote and sung this song himself, didn't he?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And I really do like the song. I do.
So I write down in my notes, I'm really hoping that these don't go as long as Black Devil Doll, but I quickly realize they probably will. The names are staying on screen for a good minute each. But at least this time he has some like crayon drawings in the background instead of just a black screen.
Yeah, those were illustrated.
Oh, I did see they were illustrated by the star of this
Yes.
movie and Black Devil Doll, Shirley Jones.
And that was a small mural. It was about the size of a large table. So they
So they just panned around it, huh?
Yeah.
The one thing I noticed about the credits are, I write, how many times is Chester going to credit himself? Because at this point, when I wrote that, I was like, I'm about 7 deep at this point. He constantly, like, one page, it's like, produced by Chester, directed by Chester,
Catering by Chester.
written by Chester, songs by Chester, voiced by Chester.
At least Joel Wynkoop gave us the courtesy of putting everything on one title screen and just his name once.
Well, and the opening credits Lost Faith were maybe a good 10 seconds.
Yeah.
This one, though, vast improvement over Devil Doll.
Oh, thankfully.
I clock it in 3 minutes and 20 seconds for credits. Still too long.
Oh,
Still
well-
way too long.
Well, the 6-minute intro for Black Devil Doll, that was the edited version by Hollywood Videos. And the original one, God knows how long it goes for. I'm not even going to go back and try.
So we open on a lady washing dishes in the kitchen. And I write, what the fuck is going on? Because all you can see, okay, so it opens up and she's washing these dishes, and all you can hear is just the overwhelming crash of dish sounds, just like breaking dishes pretty much, and her trying to talk.
Yeah.
But you can't hear any of the voice. Like, you cannot hear a word she says. All you hear is like,
Okay, Bob. Bring mommy the coffee so she can finish washing the dishes.
so the dishes are so fucking loud. You can't hear what she says, but at the same time as she's talking and dishes are crashing, we cut over to a table and like this chair just somehow pushes itself back, and then a mug starts hovering in the air, obviously by some sort of fishing pole, because it's wobbling just like when you would hold a fishing pole.
Yeah, that was Chester's brother. Keith Turner is the special effects master. And
is that why he hasn't made another? Because his brother is serving time
as
at this
far
point?
as far as I know, his brother has passed away.
Oh, his brother passed away.
Yeah.
Did he dress him like a clown, or?
Jesus Christ.
What?
Jesus Christ.
It's in the movie.
Oh, man.
I don't know. Maybe he said that was a real story for the
Oh,
commentary.
man. Oh. That was not mentioned as being a true-to-life inspiration, but... You're not pulling any punches tonight. Halloween night, folks. Halloween night.
I'm having fun.
I know. We're having fun with you because Halloween night, nobody's listening. Everyone's out partying.
All 5 of you.
Yeah. That are single, have nothing to do.
So we find out, I guess this is some ghost that's moving these things, and his name is Bobby, which is such a wonderful connection to all our past episodes.
Yep.
Multiple characters that have named Bobby, especially our first movie, The Van.
Yep.
So we'll see how Bobby comes up later. And so... right at this point I go, well, all I can surmise from this is she's either talking to a ghost or she's just insane.
Yeah.
Haven't found out which yet. And then I write, oh my lord, the fucking Devil Doll music makes an appearance.
Several times.
So in Black Devil Doll from Hell, Chester Novell Turner graced us with this Casio keyboard demo music that he apparently credits himself with writing. Although anybody who's ever owned a $5 keyboard knows just pushing that little demo key will produce the same sound.
And there's a reason why this music is similar, if not exactly the same as Black Devil Doll from Hell, is because Black Devil Doll from Hell was supposed to be part of Tales from the Quadead Zone. And tale is that Chester just kept writing and writing and writing, adding on to Black Devil Doll from Hell, that it just became too much of its own movie and less of a part of this movie, so he just saved it to be its own film. So therefore,
Oh, well, that's interesting because
Yeah.
at least Black Devil Doll from Hell had a beginning, middle, and end. The stories in this movie, not even sure they have any of those, to be honest.
it's kind of like when you tell a story and you're like, so did I tell you about this thing and the woman? Oh, wait, my ride's here. I'll tell you about it later.
Yeah. Or it's like walking into somebody's conversation mid-conversation, but then leaving before they finish. You know what I mean?
Yeah. My Uber's here.
If you don't know what this movie is, it's basically Chester Novell Turner's version of the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
So like a man who has no knowledge in writing, no formal training in writing or directing anything, deciding to make his version of a home video version of the Twilight Zone.
And there are two tales to this. So the first one is called Food For, and the second one is called The Brothers. But the box advertises this as 3 stories, and the third story is basically that parts after the 2.
Yeah, don't ruin it for our audience.
sorry.
No spoilers, Chris.
Sorry.
No, I'm just
Sorry.
kidding. So we go from the kitchen into the living room, and like we see the chair indent from a ghost sitting in it, and then this lady sits down, and this book appears in her lap.
This special effect, I'm sure, broke the budget.
So in Black Devil Doll from Hell, Chester used a lot of in-camera effects, and he continues that trend in this movie. I don't even know what you would call this. Is he just uses some weird like negative effect to like fade into something else being on her lap? It's very
Some weird transition thing. All we know is that I think he broke the zoom button on Black Devil Doll from Hell because it's used sparingly in this movie.
way less zooms in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm proud of him. Mm-hmm. So the book appears on her lap. It says Tales from the Quadead Zone. And we get, Chris, speaking of zooms, I write, we get the first of, I'm assuming, many zooms.
Mm-hmm.
As she sits on this chair and Chester zooms into her face and then just kind of pans around the room a little bit, still zooming in over to the chair and back to her. And he's once again mixed in this music so fucking loud, you cannot even hear her as she reads from this book.
Nope.
Question mark. Once upon a time, there lived this family named Nobel. Small town.
What this she's saying, you let us know.
I have
'cause
no
I'm sure
idea.
as shit can't.
No closed captions on this one.
So now we've zoomed all the way from her to the chair without even zooming out. But then all of a sudden we cut to some hillbilly family eating dinner at a table. And Shirley is still talking, but so are these people. So everybody's talking at once.
Yeah.
And it's like you have 5 conversations going on in your ears at the same time and you can't hear anything. It's maddening.
Yeah.
Absolutely maddening.
As they always appear before mealtime.
It's like you're going to a Dodger game.
You're just sitting there and it's just like all these people are sitting at this table, and then all of a sudden the old man, the head of the family, he rings this bell and everybody's quiet.
And that is apparently his mother's bell, Chester Nobel Turner's mother's bell from her house.
Wonderful. They brought it from home. Can't wait to find out where he got that mug from. You know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
So this old man rings the bell and everybody gets quiet, and then we get a shot, lots of shots of everybody. Each person gets their own close-up.
Yep.
And it holds for a good 5-10 seconds on each person. So it's just like, show the sister. Show the brother. And then we go through the whole family of 8 people like this until finally, we see everybody bow their heads and pray as Casio music swells. And then they all look around for another 2 minutes at each other. And then eventually we get a shot of there's 4 sandwiches at the center of this table.
Yeah.
But 8 people.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know what everyone's going to be asking because, let's go to let's get to the scene first.
Yeah. All right. So the old man rings the bell, and then 4 people manage to grab sandwiches off the table and just start eating them like they haven't eaten in a week. And then the others are pissed they didn't get one, and we just cut to black.
Yeah. Now, a lot of people ask Chester, and he reviewed this in the commentary. He said, people ask him, why wouldn't you just cut the sandwiches into half so there's enough? Well, there's more sandwich for just more people of just 4, so if you didn't get one, then tough.
No.
Yeah.
No. Cut them in half.
That's his answer is, well, there's just more sandwich for 4 people.
That's not no, Chester.
Yep.
That's not a response. I'm not buying that fucking shit. Cut it in half.
Yeah. That's
Then
not...
everybody gets at least a half.
His thing was, it's more meat for that person. If you don't get one, then tough. End quote.
Maybe they should just get peanut butter and jelly. It goes a lot longer than, meat.
Yeah, what the fuck are they getting these ingredients?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're getting like turkey sandwiches.
Yeah.
Like, just buy some fucking peanut butter and jelly. All right?
Crunchy, extra protein.
Yeah, there you go. But no, this is where it gets even weirder because now, Chris, let me ask you a question. Do we need to know the day of when this happened?
No. It's like Independence Day.
But then all of a sudden it goes. We cut to black, and then a title comes on screen, and it just says July 16th. And I write, what the fuck do we need this for? We're back at the table, and literally the same shot. The old man rings the bell again. They all pray. And I wrote, let's hope they made enough sandwiches today. Nope, only 5 sandwiches, and there's 8 people. At least they got one more today.
At least.
And that's when I wrote, well, Chester has an answer for it, but I wrote, have they ever heard of a fucking knife? Cut them in half.
That would make too much sense.
Well, especially now, because then all of a sudden one guy runs out of the room and then comes back with a rifle and points it at people at the table, and I guess apparently shoots a few people?
Yeah.
Because now Chester is definitely a master of sound effects. He mixes them so fucking loud we can barely hear anything. However, he doesn't mix in any sort of gunshot.
No.
And like, there's no flash or anything. And then, but all of a sudden we see people like dead.
Yeah, the one effect they did have though is they mixed Tabasco sauce and ketchup, and they had his brother Keith spray it through a hose with his mouth onto the gentleman when he's shooting with a shotgun.
There you go.
So those are the blood effects.
And then he shoots another person. Then he says something you can't really understand. He grunts and he points the gun at the people left, but they don't seem too worried about it.
Yeah, they don't seem shocked at all. It's like they're just numb, like, oh.
Yeah, they don't even like react to him shooting other people. They're like, well, I guess if I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
I mean, if this is my life where I have to sit down and grab a sandwich off the table and hope I get to eat tonight because nobody in this family will ever fucking share a half a sandwich.
Yeah.
Then you might as well shoot me dead now. He grunts, then he just kind of sits down, and then he says something about there are enough sandwiches now, and the old man says, well, let's eat, and then they all just seem happy and they eat. Fade to black, title, July 17th. Why?
I'm going to say because there's no real clear way of letting us, in his mind, there's no way of letting us know a day has passed, let alone 2, let alone a week or a month, because it's all the same setting. It's all the same, almost the same clothes.
3 days for this?
Yeah.
You're telling me this took 3 fucking days?
Yeah.
Chris, we could have shot this in an hour. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. Oh boy. So we're back July 17th. Why do we need to know these fucking dates? Who knows? We're back at the table. They pray again. And then Shirley's voice comes over the movie, but we can't understand her, so it doesn't even fucking matter. All of a sudden it stops and we see, okay, so we think we're going to get a whole nother thing of like, all right, here it comes again. They're not going to have enough sandwiches, even though he killed off a bunch of people. But no, it just starts freeze framing on people at the table. Why we even needed to go to another day, I don't know. We could have just done this on the last day because it didn't add anything.
No.
It just stops and we see still shots of 2 of the family members, and it says the day they died and that they were shot with a rifle. And it's like, one of them's like July 26th, shot by rifle. Next one, July 28th, shot by rifle. And then it cuts to the old lady who I guess is the mom, and it says, quote, living high on the hog in the witness protection program. And then it cuts to the dad and it says the same thing. Has to just say it again. Same words. Living high on the hog in the witness protection program. And then the man who shot everyone, it just says, died May 1986 in the state gas chamber.
Yeah.
We go back to Shirley's house reading that book. I guess this is the end of the story?
Yeah.
Like I said, did it even start? Like, who are these people?
No idea.
What the fuck's going on? And Shirley says something like, that was a strange tale, wasn't it, Bobby? And I wrote, yeah, it was.
For anyone wondering, living high on the hog, According to Chester, that is referring to the top part of a pig, where that is the good meat, as in the bacon.
I love how we got to explain this saying. We get it, Chester. We get it.
Yeah. Oh, my favorite part of when they're showing those freeze frames. There's one woman who gets shot. It says how she got shot, and she looks so bored. Her hand is on her head, and she's like, "Oh God,"
because she's like, "I've been here for 3 days.
Yeah,
in some crack house we found in the middle of Chicago that everybody's piled in to film
I think
a movie."
this is in Alabama.
Oh,
so just so you
they
know,
left
yes.
Chicago at this point.
Yeah, so part of this quote unquote film was shot in Alabama and Chicago. So the house in which Shirley and the boy are in is in Alabama, and I believe
it looks like it.
Yeah, and this house I believe is in Alabama as well.
Okay, so the next story must have been the only part that took place in Chicago.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay, apparently that's the end of the story, and I write in my notes, typically a story has a beginning, middle, and end. We kind of just got the end. Maybe Chester didn't pay too much attention to those Twilight Zone episodes, but typically we have a setup, Chester, and not just an action. Like, I mean, literally, I just spent 15 minutes of my life watching hillbillies not being able to cut sandwiches in half. What the fuck am I watching?
That's almost like a Rob Zombie film.
It's a Real House of 1,000 Corpses we have here.
Yeah. There should be a double feature.
Oh, and if you're wondering if a guy's going to dress up like a clown, oh, don't worry. So we go back to Shirley's house. She says it was a strange tale. Yeah, it was. So then there is this wind. Okay, so whenever Shirley talks to the ghost Bobby, there's like this sound and then this wind.
That was a strange tale, wasn't it, Bobby? Did you enjoy it?
And she kind of like closes her eyes like she's in some sort of like herbal essence shampoo commercial. Yeah. And she goes like, ah.
Yeah, that is a hair dryer.
Of course it is.
Yeah, of course. I don't know why I'm stating the obvious. These are just facts from the comic.
What else would it be, Chris? A real ghost?
I'm just saying what's in the commentary.
Chester just blowing in the corner.
He like passes out after 3 takes. The camera keels over.
Oh God. Yeah, you just see the camera slowly go and just fall over.
All you other podcasts doing your fucking Halloweens and your fucking Night of Living Deads, go fuck yourselves. We're doing the real deal here.
Quadead Zone, bitch.
We're
talking real terror here. The movie ain't scary. It's the experience of trying to fucking watch this.
You and your John Carpenters can go fuck yourselves.
Chris and I had an idea that if we ever owned a movie theater one day, we were going to do this special Halloween screening. We're going to be like, special screening, one night only, double feature, 2 of the most infamous horror movies ever made. And then we're going to screen Black Devil Doll and Quadead Zone back to back. And Chris,
I'm actually going to seal the door shut.
from the outside.
Inglorious Bastard style.
But first, Chris is going to say his catchphrase that he uses all the time, which is "See you later, losers," and then he's gonna peel out.
Yeah.
Or at least play the sound of a peel out sound. And then and by the way, that audio is gonna be fucking deafeningly loud.
Oh, we're gonna redline that shit in the booth. The speakers are gonna be the worst we can find. 10 power amps. It's gonna be like a Metallica concert if they couldn't play their instruments, but that's yet to be decided. It's gonna be loud.
Chris is putting everybody on blast today. Dude, Jesus Christ!
I'm kidding.
Metallica, we're coming for you.
I'm kidding.
Fuck you,
I'm
Lars.
kidding. They're wonderful people, I'm sure.
So, anyways, we go back to the house. Shirley's reading another story, and I wrote, well, I was hoping that was just the end of the movie, but apparently it's not. But then we come to another Zoom and the Casio, and I can't fucking hear her.
Other one named Ted. Fred was the oldest of the 2 and very successful businessman.
Chester, Jesus fucking Christ, man. I know you were proud of your Casio music, but fucking fix the mix, man. Like, there's no reason that the music should be so loud I can't hear what your character is trying to say.
Yeah, the 3 days you spent writing for the last
All
episode.
for naught.
Yeah. Yeah. Every word diligently written, rehearsed.
Because, okay, I mean, we'll play a little sample, but basically this Casio music starts, and then she's like, so, Bobby, let me tell you this story about... And then you can't even hear her, and she's describing all the backstory to the story we're gonna see. It's like, you know, these two brothers and this and this. Will we ever know? No.
Yeah.
Instead, we're gonna cut, again, to basically the end of a story and have no context of where we are, who these people are.
Oh, God.
Because Chester decided, well, fuck the dialogue. Let's get more of that music in there. That's why people are seeing this, right?
Mm-hmm. The soundtrack rates alone.
So we go to this funeral home, and we watch these guys break into a funeral home for a while. Then they just... Okay, this is where I write my notes. This movie is severely lacking zooms. Wait, never mind. He's just zoomed again. They break into some room. So, like, basically we watch these guys fucking walk around a funeral home at night for, like, I'd say, 10 minutes? Going from, like, room to room, from hallway to hallway. Yeah. And they're just like, is it in here? Is it in here? No.
It's like a point-and-click adventure game.
Yeah, it is. It's like you're playing fucking Monkey Island or something.
Maniac Mansion.
They break into a room, and we zoom into a corpse in a coffin, right?
Yeah.
So, like, they're standing in front of this open casket. For some reason, there's an open casket in the funeral home at night. Like, they didn't even have the courtesy to close it on this guy. And we just zoom into this dead guy's face, and then we can't really understand what they say. And then we just cut to them walking around some more, and so does the Casio keyboard in the zoom as they just walk along with us and zoom willy-nilly and play their demo music. And we watch these guys, I would say, take about a good 2 minutes to walk down a set of basement stairs. And so we watch this one guy. So they both go down the stairs, right?
This is now in a different location.
Yeah,
so
okay.
This actually, I mean, like geographically.
Oh, this is a whole different... This is not even the funeral parlor anymore?
No,
Okay.
this is shot in another place, like completely. So
Well, he matched it well.
Yeah.
But we watch these two guys walk down this staircase for like 2 minutes of like sneaking down. Like, Chester, in a horror movie, when somebody sneaks around, there should be some sort of tension that's built to make us worry about the characters. In this one, we're like, I don't understand. Are these guys robbing this place, or what are they doing?
Is there a gas leak? Did someone leave the stove on?
What are they doing?
I don't know.
But they walk down these stairs, and the one guy's like creeping along the wall, and we watch the entire shot of him walk down these stairs. He finally gets to the bottom of the stairs, and we think maybe we're gonna cut. No.
In fact, we see like part of his face behind like a beam.
So the other guy who's left on the stairs, we watch another minute of him just standing there, and then the camera just slowly zooms. And you're right, half the screen is like a beam, and then the bottom half is like his chin.
Yeah.
With his mouth. And he's just like, hey, you down there? Hey, are you there? This goes on for another 2 minutes before we have to then watch him walk down the stairs in the same fashion. He goes to the bottom, there's a black doorway, and then the guy just comes out, and they're like, is he there? No. And then we just, all this made no fucking sense. Yeah. We go to another room where there's another dead guy on a table, but then this, like, they uncover the sheet. Oh yeah, they uncover the sheet on that one, and it's like, I guess a corpse? It's just like all multicolored?
Yeah, it looks like someone just like fried bacon and draped it over his face.
I say it looks like the inside of a couch or something.
Yeah,
like, what
it does.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
So we just see this shot, that then they uncover another sheet, and then this guy strangles them that's laying on this table.
He's in a coffin, I think. Is he?
No, he's just on like an examining table.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, he's under a sheet, that's right.
And they're like, oh, you scared the shit out of us. How come you didn't meet us outside? We're like, wait, what the fuck is going on? They know this guy?
Yeah.
And he's just like, apparently their friend, and he's all, you know me, I'm a prankster. I can't help myself. I had to come in here before you did so I could scare you.
So how would he know they would have come in looking for him?
So is he waiting there for a good 40 minutes while they walked around the rest of this building? Just like, they'll be in here soon. I know it. There's only 15 rooms in this place.
That had to have been.
My God. So then they ask him, like, all right. So they're asking him, like, oh, where's so-and-so? And he's like, oh, he's on this floor or something. And I don't understand what the fuck they're even talking about. And then all of a sudden it just cuts. Them walking into a house carrying like a body in, I don't know, like a foam rubber mat or something. Or like a towel. No, it's a bath towel. It's like... So they walk into this house carrying a body wrapped in a bath towel with like one piece of duct tape around it. Not suspicious at all, I'm sure.
No, it's like a
fucking control.
It's like a bright orange towel that they're like carrying around, like no big deal, from like Bed Bath and Beyond.
But it's the outline of a person.
Yeah.
Like,
Clearly.
Here's my question: we didn't see him drive up to that funeral home. No. Do you think they walked home with it?
They had to have. In Chester's world, I'm sure they did.
Do you think they were about to walk out with the body and like, oh fuck, can't just walk out with the body. We've got to put something around it. Whoa, hold on, I found a towel. All I got is orange though. You don't think that'll stand out, right?
Just carry it like a rug. No one will know.
It's probably not the first time a body's been wrapped in a towel and walked down the streets of Chicago. So
this is commonplace. This is just another Tuesday night.
People just about to bite into a late night hot dog and they're like, oh, another body.
Yep. Extra mayo, please.
So they're in this house. Oh my God. All right. This is my favorite part of the whole movie. So they're all celebrating about something. What this plan is, we don't know. So they're all celebrating, and one guy's like, let me get some bubbly. And he brings out his champagne, and this guy runs into the house. And by the way, if you're confused at who's who, so are we. Nobody has a name. Nobody has any defining characteristic. We can't understand anything anybody ever says, except for, thank God, this next scene. Yeah. Which is my favorite scene in this movie, and probably one of my favorite scenes in any movie, is the guy's like, I got the champagne, and this other guy runs out and goes, I gotta get my special mug. And he runs into the room with like a...
This is like if you go to Trader Sam's at Disneyland, that tiki bar. This is like this equivalent to one of those mugs.
This is like what you would find at a Spencer's Gift or below a Spencer's Gifts. Like if you went into the gift store in like Las Vegas, you would find this. It's a nipple mug. Yeah. It's like a woman's breast as a mug. And he goes like, shows it off to the camera, and then Chester zooms in real quick so we can get the good gag of the mug. And they all laugh. And that's it. That's And I was like, there is the budget there.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, do you think they bought this mug specifically for this movie?
Why wouldn't they?
Or do you think that he had it and he's like, oh, fuck, I got to get my mug in this movie?
Yeah, that was not specified, unfortunately. But I'm willing to bet.
This is like something you would see in a gift shop and just walk past and not even have a second glance at it. You would just be like, oh, that's fine. A nipple mug, yeah. But this is like, let's give it fucking center stage. Funniest shit we've ever seen. A mug shaped like a woman's breast. Yeah. And not only do we show it, zoom in. Classic.
Do they really need 3 people in this episode? Because there's so...
No, Chris, to be honest, they don't even need the episode. No. They don't need this. They don't need any of this. No. None of this matters. They don't even need the part when they were in the funeral home. They could have just cut here and saved us a good 15 minutes of our life back. But no. So they pour the bubbly, and I write, still not really sure what's going to happen, who these guys are, or what they've just accomplished. But apparently we're celebrating. Then all of a sudden they start arguing with that guy again about why he snuck into the funeral home. And he goes on again about how he's a practical joker and he couldn't stop himself because he's just got to play a prank on everybody, and they all laugh about it. I write, what is the fucking plan? What did they just accomplish?
This is Chester trying to keep us on pins and needles to see what's going to happen next.
This is going on 20 fucking minutes at this point, and I don't know what they're doing.
Damn, Moby. How come you ain't went to the department like we planned it, man? Eh? Huh? We waited a whole fucking hour for you. Damn, man. Both of y'all know the type of practical joker I am. Damn, man. I just couldn't resist the opportunity to scare the shit out of y'all, that's all. But damn, why not dog-ass funeral home? Shit. For real, man. I gave $1 million to have a picture of me when I just went up there and grabbed those dead motherfucking throats. Shit, goddamn.
Hey, man, I got some
Then they say some more things you can't understand and continue to drink. And then finally, some guy asks why this guy wanted a dead body. And he just responds with revenge.
And they get all freaked out like, oh, motherfucker.
And I wrote, well, what? They didn't ask him this before?
Yeah.
He's just like,
let's get this body, guys.
Guys, I want to go steal a body from the funeral home. Okay. We won't ask you any questions.
Nope. You're a good friend of ours. We trust you.
Revenge? Oh, well, my hands are dirty. What the fuck? Last time I do you a favor. So these guys leave, and they get all upset. And then the guy who's left goes in this room with the body and his mug. Can't forget the fucking mug. And then he starts yelling at the body. And I guess we find out this is his brother. And at first he's like, he's bad that this guy got B. When he got B's in school, he got A's. And then the Casio starts playing, and he starts yelling at him more about how he married some lady, or was going to marry some lady,
Yeah.
But then his brother stole her.
Oh, no, they were married.
Oh, they were married?
Yeah.
And then he stole his wife.
Yeah, just to break up the marriage.
Yeah. And then that's that.
Boo-hoo.
And I write, sounds like a real shitty brother, but I mean, you've won, dude. The guy's dead. Just leave it alone. Like, why did you need to bring his corpse over here?
Well, because his brother is going to have this ornate shrine from, there's an inheritance, apparently.
Yes, that's that. Okay, so that's the next thing you learn. Yeah.
So that's why he doesn't want him buried in that area, because that would be, like, the cherry on top.
You don't have to just... Well, okay.
Why not just demolish the shrine?
Here's the one thing. Yeah, here's the one thing. He says this thing about, you spent all our inheritance money on this shrine. And I wrote, all the inheritance money? Every penny on a shrine? And then I was thinking, like, well, it's too late, though, because he already bought that shrine.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you... What is it? You're just like, well, you're never going to be buried there, and I guess nobody else is, and it's just going to sit vacant, but it's still going to have your name on it. And, you know, basically anybody would still think you're buried there, but I know that you weren't.
That's it.
Again, Chris, what is the plan?
This plot hinges on a grave marker.
God. So then he just unwraps the towel, and we see this dead brother, and it just shows this guy laughing for like 3 minutes straight, just laughing and laughing and laughing. And he gets this box from the top of a shelf, and he dresses him up as a clown, and he still just laughs and laughs and laughs and laughs.
And this is Chester's brother, by the way. He's doing the laughing.
Oh, this was him? The actor was Chester's brother?
Yeah, the actor is Keith Turner.
So then he laughs for a couple more minutes, and then he leaves, and I write, silence has never been so welcome. But then we immediately cut to the hallway, and he's laughing again. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
So he just laughs and laughs and laughs, and then he goes into this basement, and then we go back to the room, right? Mm-hmm. And then this ghost figure appears in the room and then sits on the clown brother.
Yeah.
And then we go back to the basement, and he's like digging a grave in this basement, which, okay... If he's not going to bury him in the shrine, don't you think it's a little bit weird to bury him in your own basement?
That's way creepier. That is not doing anybody any favors.
No, I'd say that's arguably much worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got
just put him in a wood chipper and be done with it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I've got my dead brother in the basement. Want to check it out? The homeowner value gets through the roof.
He's going to go down there and pour more champagne from his boob mug onto him every day. And laugh and laugh and laugh. But no, the clown then wakes up and walks downstairs, and there's a good like 10 minutes of just cutting between these two guys. And this clown walks down the stairs and super zoomed only on his feet. And we just see every step take about a goddamn fucking minute. And then finally the clown gets down in the basement and it starts talking to him. And when this thing talks, it sounds to me like somebody like peeked the fuck out of a microphone and then put like some sort of like, it actually seems like somebody just threw the tape recorder in a fish tank.
Yeah.
And started recording it.
It's got a weird warble effect to it.
It sounds like you're underwater, yeah.
That character from Enemy Mine by Louis Gossett Jr.
And it's like deafening how loud this clown's voice is, but you still can't understand a word he says.
Yeah.
And then basically the clown takes him and it kills him.
Yeah.
He sticks a pitchfork through the guy, and then the guy dies.
Well, he takes a long time to die.
Oh, this whole scene I've just described to you, literally 15 minutes of this movie.
Yeah. And
is just a clown stabs a man with a pitchfork. If only it could be that simple.
And the reason why, according to Chester in the commentary, why this death scene is so long, because he says, quote, "I know people don't die all that quick," end quote.
How does he... Wait, he
How
said,
would you know?
I quote, know that people don't...
Yeah.
Like I said, is this a true story? Was Chester a clown at some point?
No. I mean, they had this suit available.
So, well, in all his movies, everybody takes forever to die.
Yeah.
But this is what I write. 23 minutes to go, 23 minutes to go, and then I can get my life back. Then the clown yells underwater for a long time and then leaves the room. We cut back to Shirley in her house reading the story, and she says, "Oh, that was one of the strangest stories I've ever heard." And I write, "No shit. I think it's time to return that fucking book. If those 5,000 pages are anything like these two stories, I can definitely say that's probably a case of quantity over quality." Because, holy fuck.
Does she get this from like Barnes and Noble or something?
No, like, so what she's reading is like larger than like a church Bible.
But well, it is in fact a Bible, and they just spun it backwards and wrote on the back, "Tales from the Quadead Zone."
This thing is like a good 5,000 pages.
Yeah,
this
it is
thing.
big.
You had described in a previous episode, use the word tome. It's
Yeah, you can, people carve out books to put things. You can hide a landmine in this thing.
You might be able to hide a child in this thing.
I can.
But my question is, like, so in these stories like that she's reading, do you think it has all of this? And then the clown walked down one step, and then it walked down another step.
Yeah.
And then he paused and
think
slowly walked down another step.
I think that entire tome is just these two stories.
It's just constantly like what we're not getting is all the inner thoughts, I guess, you know? The inner narration.
I'll lie on this table and surprise my two friends under this white cloth in the funeral parlor. And it's the entire time is 40 minutes passing by, and his thoughts.
What we didn't see was the whole setup to that of him, the other guy breaking in and then laying down on the table. Oh God. So then Shirley says, "Do you want another story, Bobby?" And the wind comes back. And then she goes, "Oh, well, I'm getting a headache." And I wrote, "Well, maybe this movie's going to end sooner." But nope, she just had to get her glasses.
And it's basically, she changes out her glasses. Chester asks her in the commentary why. Because he's like, "Why?" Because that wasn't in the script. She just does that.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
He didn't call cut. He's like, "I'm going to go with it."
Yeah. And so he even asks her, she's like, "So why did you change your glasses?" She goes, "I don't know."
Shirley's just a method actor. Like,
I guess.
She's just like, oh, I got a headache. I'm going to change my glasses.
Yeah.
She would do real well with Tiana Alexander from Catch the Heat, you know?
Oh, I love to see
They
them.
just bounce off each other, you know? They could be in a room for hours.
Yeah.
Just sitting around looking at pictures, making up dialogue.
"Oh, what inside big book?" You got 2 hours? How about 5?
So then all of a sudden she goes, "Oh God." Here comes Daryl. Oh God. Do we know who Daryl is?
No.
Fuck no.
But we're thinking the same thing, too.
Yeah, we're like, oh God.
Another character.
So then she tells Bobby, the ghost, to go to his room, and I write, like it would fucking matter. He's a goddamn ghost that nobody could ever see. It wouldn't matter. Then Daryl comes in the house. He sees the Quadead book, and he just gives Shirley this look. And then for about 10 seconds, we get a shot of just Shirley just shaking her head back and forth, all out of focus. She's just like, and it just goes on for a while. And then we just cut back to Daryl, and he's like, he asks where she got the book, and she says, "Daryl, I don't need this shit." And then apparently he says something about, "I know you're reading that book to our dead son. He's been dead for 3 years." And then he grabs the book and starts beating her with it.
Yeah.
Like hardcore beating her
And
with it.
she did get hurt in the filming.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
He's like, it looked like this actor, like Chester's like, all right, then you beat her with the book. He's like, for real, right? Like, this is just a movie, right? No cops are going to be called, right?
Use your judgment. Use your judgment.
Because he grabs this book and he's like, come here, you fucking bitch.
Yeah.
And then he just starts hitting her with it, and she's
Yeah.
like, oh, fucking. She gets on the couch and he's just like bitch slapping her with this book,
And they call cut, and he goes, I didn't even hear you guys call action.
You were rolling? So they get this like a good 5-minute fight, and they move from the living room into the kitchen, and then the Casio music starts playing, and then Shirley manages to open a drawer and then starts stabbing him in the stomach. But she keeps saying, I'll cut your balls off, but she never does.
Yeah.
She just stabs him in the gut. And then she says, at one point, so like this guy's, again, taking a long time to die.
Yeah, well, the part where she steps on his foot, that was originally supposed to be a crotch shot, but according to Chester, he was, quote, going to have none of that. So they just went...
But he wrote it.
Well, the guy...
He's going to have none of that. He wrote it.
Yeah, tell your actor that. Tell your actor, I wrote this shit, you're getting kicked in the crotch.
Oh, the actor was going to have none of that.
No, yeah, the actor...
The guy shows up and he's like, oh, no, I ain't doing that. He's like, you just beat to death a woman with a book.
Yeah.
I didn't even call action.
So you owe us one.
So she stabs him like all these times and says, I'm gonna cut your balls off. I'm gonna cut your balls off. And then he like tries to walk away and she goes, no, dance with me. And she like pulls him close and starts dancing with him as she continues to stab. And she's like, this is gonna be your last dance. And then, okay, all of a sudden, the wind comes back, and she goes,
Cue the hairdryer.
Oh, Bobby. Go back to your room. And then we zoom down this hallway. So we cut from all the action to down a hallway, and we just zoom. And then this door opens, and then we go in the room, and then the door shut. Go back to the kitchen. Oh, okay. No. When we go to the room, we see the door close, and then you see an indent happen in a chair. And did you notice this? Next to the chair on the right side, you can see the guy.
Yeah, I just see that.
Yeah, you can clearly see him.
Yeah.
Because he didn't hide himself at all. He's wearing like a polka dot outfit, and he's sitting under the chair, like pulling it down or something.
Yeah.
And you
Keith Turner, special effects, everybody.
You can clearly see his legs start moving when he does it.
Mike, it's all about the big picture. The big picture.
So then we see the last dance for a little bit longer.
It's a long-ass dance.
Well, it's his last.
It's the last. Make it count.
So, and that's what I write. People can never seem to just fucking die in these movies. And finally, Daryl just falls to the ground. She drops his bloody knife, and I write, only 16 minutes to go for freedom.
Oh, I was counting down, too.
We go to Bobby's room, and Cheryl walks in. Then we go to the kitchen again, and Daryl's not dead. Ugh. And we see for a good 3 minutes him crawling like on the floor, and he's like crawling, grabbing this oven, trying to get to his feet. And eventually he gets to the phone and he dials 911 and he says, help, please. This dang bitch is trying to kill me. Help, please. And then just hangs up.
Help, please. Dang bitch. Been trying to kill me. Please. Help me.
We go back to Bobby's room, and Cheryl says, Bobby, I'm sorry, but Daddy is no longer with us. He forced my hand. He didn't understand how much Mommy loves you. Then the wind comes back.
Yep.
She asks if he wants another story. He does. Then we hear police sirens. They overtake all audio, and we can barely hear Shirley as she says something I cannot understand. But it's something about telling Bobby to stay in his room no matter what he hears, and he agrees with his wind.
No matter what you hear outside this door, you must promise to stay. No matter if you hear other voices, no matter what you hear Mommy say.
Then we go outside. A, quote, police car pulls up, which is just like a fucking Trans Am that they put a little light on top of.
Yeah.
And then these, quote, cops knock on the front door.
Oh, here we go.
They couldn't even get a uniform.
No.
I mean, this guy's wearing like a jeans and like a red polo shirt.
Yeah.
And we cut to inside and like they're knocking on the door and Shirley's like for like 10 seconds like pacing in front of the door like what am I gonna do? Then she finally opens it the cop flashes the one thing they did buy, which is this horrible fake badge from the local party store. But do you notice, like, when the cop's gonna walk in the door, he already has his gun drawn?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, you don't. Well, before she answers, better pull that gun. Just in case, right?
Well, it's a distress call from a house. I'll give him this.
Well, you're right. He did say this dang bitch tried to kill me.
Yeah.
Help.
So life
help.
and death is involved. If I were a cop responding, I probably would have my guard up.
Yeah, that's true. Did you think he said anything on the phone like, it's my last dance? It's my last dance.
Cue the music, boys. My last dance.
So basically, like, the cops walk inside, and then this other cop's like in the kitchen, and then they find the dead body of Daryl, and then Shirley just starts yelling for Bobby, and then the cop tells the other cop she's yelling for somebody or something, and then they, for some reason, know her son's dead. It really makes no sense, but basically she's gonna get arrested.
Yeah.
But she's like, I gotta go to the bathroom. And they're like, okay, we'll let her go.
Which would never happen.
No.
Ever.
So they let her go to the bathroom. She goes in there and she locks the door and she starts crying and she says, because now Bobby's in there apparently.
Mm-hmm.
And she's
I couldn't have
she's
told.
like, Bobby, I fucked up. They're going to take me away. And I write, though, she does have a good self-defense case. I mean, the guy did come over and beat her with that book.
Yeah.
And she's the only witness. I'm sure, let a jury decide. I mean, if the guy had a history of violence against her,
he came after her first.
Shut.
He came after her first.
He did.
Yeah.
He showed up.
Yeah.
And I mean, she didn't invite him.
Yeah.
It's easy enough.
There you go.
I mean, if there's no other witnesses, what evidence do they have other than he's dead? She could have said she probably has bruises from this book beating.
Oh, fuck
I mean,
yeah,
it was,
she does.
God, I mean,
Yeah.
that was fucking brutal.
I mean, they can ask Bobby on the stand.
yeah, he can answer in wind. And Shirley will just be like, he said it was self-defense. So basically she opens a cabinet and she finds a razor, and then she sits down on this toilet, and then for some reason happy Casio music starts playing, like the most upbeat music in the whole movie, in her lowest moment. And we just zoom into her face while she's twiddling this razor in her hand
For about, feels like at least 6 minutes.
But then we go to a series of flashbacks, which are amazing. As one is Shirley pushing now the alive Bobby, so like an actual kid on a swing set. Although it would have been funny if it was still a ghost. Can you imagine this next one? Is they play hide and seek, and then they jump cut to a baseball. Could you imagine if it was a ghost baseball? Like a floating bat? And then they hug. Then we go back to the bathroom, and then Shirley gets on the ground. A heartbeat, the fucking telltale heart starts playing, and we zoom into her face, and we cut to a close-up of her lips as she says, Bobby. And then she slits her own throat with like all this blood pouring everywhere.
Yeah.
And then we cut to outside the bathroom, and like the cop's like checking his watch.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, we gotta go. We gotta go. It's been long enough, ma'am. And then he, kicks down the door.
Funny story about that is that this is Shirley's house. So he didn't want to break her door in the scene. So he just put like masking tape on the other side of the door. So it had that stick-like quality to it. Because God forbid it's in the budget to break a door down.
Surely, you might donate a door to this movie? So the cops come in. She's dead. Then we cut to a title, and it says 21 hours later.
Again, with the passage of time.
But it doesn't even say hours. It says HRS period. And I'm like, you couldn't spell hours?
Yeah.
Like, does it really even fucking matter?
Apparently they were paying
To
by the
leave out
letter.
2 goddamn letters.
Yeah, they paid by the letter, Mike.
That's all they had left in the budget. They had to cut out the O and the U and use a period instead. So we see outside the house, Casio music plays as Shirley shows up as some yellow ghost figure. Then she walks into the house and finds Bobby as a ghost figure. And then they hug, or they talk in ghost talk. And then she's going to read him more stories. They go to the living room. She brings out that Quadead book. She starts to read, but she doesn't, because the story is just the fucking shit that just happened.
And we get the backstory of the child dying.
So she actually reads the story of just exactly what we've just seen.
Yeah.
One day there was a mommy and a son, and the son died in a car accident. And then she started reading him stories from a book. And then this man, her ex-husband, came over, and then he beat her with the book, and she stabbed him in the kitchen, and then she killed herself, and then now we're here. Movie ends.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we fucking end this shit. But then a title says, Tales from the Quadead Zone will return, and I write, for the love of God, no. Recommendation?
Here's the thing. I can call myself a proud owner of this because I feel like I like this. I really love this movie called Be Kind Rewind. It has Jack Black and Mos Def, and I feel like I own like a
Michel Gondry movie.
Yeah, and I feel like I own a sweeted Twilight Zone movie.
Yeah, I could see that.
And to me, it has that cool novelty to it of this is like that version. And so it's starting to worm its way into my heart, and if you appreciate stuff like that, then I'll give it a soft recommend. But be warned, be fucking warned. All right.
This is like I'm saying, this is like if a 5-year-old took a camera and made their version of like what you would have done as a child.
Yeah.
Like making your own version of like a G.I. Joe story or something, or like you said, like a Twilight Zone.
Yeah. And all the heart is there. All of the passion is in it. It's just, he could have taken maybe another class or two in film, and I think it would have been something, or a couple $1 million in a budget, but I'll hand it to him.
Yeah, the only problem is that Chester's in his 30s while he's making these movies.
Yeah.
You'd watch this and be like, oh, this must have just been some kids.
Like, it was their elementary school project, Halloween competition.
Oh, this is just some kid in high school. He's just having fun with the camera he rented from school.
Yeah. If you do want to see this, set your expectations below the equator.
There's never been a worse 2 movies made in history.
Yeah.
Like, that have been released, I guess.
Yeah.
Other than maybe one we've seen that actually stars a real comedian.
Mm-hmm. People are buying copies of The Quadead Zone and Black Devil Doll from Hell on eBay for $700 a piece.
$700?
Yes. The original copies of this film are on eBay for an exorbitant amount of money.
Oh, boy.
And that's that collector's market.
I don't know if I could be happy with that purchase.
Well, it's making someone happy, and Chester's one of them, so good on him. I'll give him that.
Although Chester didn't get any of that eBay money, so...
No, but it's his legacy, so...
So, yeah, if you're interested, check him out. We thought we'd do a little something different for Halloween. Have a little fun with it.
Yeah.
So, Chris?
We're letting our hair down.
You hear that sound?
I do. Boy, do I.
If this is the first time you've joined us on this podcast, you might be surprised to learn that every episode we talk about the first episode we covered on this podcast. The movie was 1977's The Van, starring Stuart Goetz and Danny DeVito, about a ginger boy who gets a big yellow van called the Straight Arrow with a nice bubble window, waterbed, toaster, satellite TV, the works, captain's chairs, and he goes around and uses all those amenities to lure women in the back so he can get to the goods. Mm-hmm. And we always wonder, what do you think DeVito and Bobby would have done after the van?
Yeah.
So, Chris, how do Bobby and DeVito fit into the world of Tales from the Quadead Zone?
Well, Mike, this one's very cut and dry. This one's very open and close, as evident by the ghost Bobby. That isn't her real son. I think Bobby died sometime after the van in some pimp hooker altercation, and Bobby got whacked.
Obviously, that was the way he was going to go. Either that or driving his van off a cliff.
Yeah, the way he was driving that thing in the film. One drag race too many. So, this woman is convinced that this is the ghost of her son. It is not. Bobby is taken over because he kept on hearing the words Bobby being called after he crossed over. He's like, oh, yeah, that must be for me. Maybe that's Sally Johnson. Sally Johnson. I can still see her knockers. So he transcends through the lights to heaven and looks down and goes, here I come. Jumps down. And
here I come, all right.
Yeah, and is now inhabiting the house of this woman who she thinks it's her 3-year-old son. It is really now Bobby from the van, and he's like, oh, this is easy. I'm just going to play along. I get to read, she reads me stories. I get to, well, here's, every time the wind's, okay. That is not wind blowing in her face.
Okay, what is it?
That is,
Ghost money shot?
yes, that is supernatural spermatozoa. spraying her in the face.
A real Ghostbusters 1 type scenario, right? You know, if any of you haven't watched Ghostbusters 1 in a long time, there is a ghost blowjob scene in that movie. It's forgotten by a lot of us until you rewatch it one day and you go, whoa, don't remember that as a kid.
I can go into that one too if you want, because I know the origins of that.
No, I just want to leave it alone, Chris. It's in the movie how it is. Dan Aykroyd can say whatever the fuck he wants about it, but he included a ghost blowjob in that movie, and that's the only cut we have. I don't see any extra footage. He can fucking make up all the shit he wants. For some reason, Aykroyd wanted to get a ghost blower in that movie, and boy, did he shoehorn it in. And for some reason, Ernie Hudson witnesses it.
There's an extended scene, but you don't want me to talk about it, so I won't.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
So in the original scene of that, where that scene comes from, Ernie Hudson and Dan Aykroyd, their characters investigate a Civil War fortress house from the Civil War era. And
sure they do.
It's haunted.
In New York City, huh?
Yeah. So it's, well, no, because the continuation of that scene, when they're driving on the bridge late at night, they're coming back from this place.
From where? Fucking Gettysburg?
Yeah. So Dan Aykroyd goes to investigate this haunted room.
Sure he does. Keep going.
Where there's legend of a succubus. So is Ernie Hudson?
No, he doesn't say there's legend of a succubus. Are you serious?
Ernie Hudson is investigating other parts of the room. So Dan Aykroyd goes in, and if you look in the montage of the original film, he's wearing a weird outfit, like kind of a Colonel Sanders outfit, Captain Crunch.
Yeah, sure he is.
No, look closely. He's wearing this outfit is like tassels, like a Captain Crunch.
Likes to cosplay, all right?
Yeah. So he's wearing a Captain Crunch outfit. Reason why is he's bored.
Captain Crunch outfit.
He's bored in this room waiting, so he tries on his clothes. He's like, oh, I look good. He gets tired, lies down on the bed, and then he wakes up to the ghost above him, and that's where that montage scene comes from, is that happening. And then Ernie Hudson comes by in the room and he goes, hey, you all right in there? And Dan Aykroyd goes, I'll be out in 5 minutes.
Yeah,
End
sure.
scene.
Okay, but what do you think the phone call to the Ghostbusters headquarters was like? Do you think it was just a late night and maybe Janine was off for the night, and all of a sudden he answers the phone and somebody goes, yeah, hello, is this Ghostbusters? And he's like, yeah, yes it is. And he goes, yeah, we got a problem at our hotel. Apparently, people seem to be getting, sir, I really don't know how to put this. They seem to be getting blowjobs in the middle of the night. From either a ghost or some sort of
apparition,
blowjob bandit. We're not sure. We're really not sure, sir. But there's semen all over the sheets every night, and people. Some people enjoy it. They've been requesting the same room. It is book solid.
They leave a big tip every night. A big tip.
Some people are real disturbed by it. We had a married couple come in here a few nights ago, and we don't think the divorce is going to end well. So, wondering maybe you could take the long drive all the way down here tonight and check this out for us.
Fire up the Ecto-1.
And so Aykroyd goes, I'll be right there. And then he hangs up the phone, and he's like about to go run off to the Ecto-1 by himself. And then Winston just catches him, and he's like, where you going? And he's like, got a call. And he's like, oh, well, you need me to go, right? We need 2 people. Somebody's got to set that trap, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And he's like, oh. Yeah. Yeah, come on with. Okay, so we didn't even get to it, but here's my... I think that the van fits into this movie a little bit differently.
Oh.
I think, that's a big book. Mm-hmm. And I think when Shirley sits down to read the next story, she goes, all right, Bobby, here's the next story. Well, there was this one boy, and his name was Bobby. And one day he saved up all his money working at that car wash so he could buy himself a van. And then basically she just reads off the entire story of the van because it's just contained within that book of Quadead Zone.
Ooh, I like it. Cool.
And the reason she reads it is she goes, oh, look at this. The character's name is Bobby. I think you'll like this one. And then by the end of it, she goes, boy, Bobby, that was the strangest tale yet. Why did that man show up at the end and say, I got the money?
Did the book have illustrations in it?
Yeah, she didn't show that part though. She was like, Bobby, you're a little young for this. And then he fucked Sally. But then he went over to Tina's house and tried to fuck her too. But then Bobby woke up with a severe itch on his crotch. But don't worry, it's nothing the pharmacist says can't just go away in an hour. Because this was written before AIDS.
Oh, shit.
So you have any for our other feature, WWBD? What would Bronson do?
I couldn't think of anything. To be
Okay, I
honest.
do.
Okay, please do.
All right.
Oh God.
We're sitting at the police station.
Does everyone know what would BB do?
Okay.
Let's introduce this.
WWBD is what would Bronson do. We always wonder, what would Charles Bronson do in the situation presented to him in this movie? We've done one Charles Bronson movie so far, Kinjite, which is quite possibly the most racist, offensive movie ever made. We're going to do more Charles Bronson movies because they're all quite possibly the most racist and offensive movies ever made. But how would Bronson handle this routine police investigation? And I was thinking about it. Bronson has been demoted to the Alabama county, whatever it is down there, whatever county this is, sheriff's office, because too many sodomizations in Los Angeles. He worked his way out of that city. He worked his way all the way across the country until he wound up in Alabama, and he says, "Oh, this place seems right for me." You can go around being racist all day. Nobody's upset about all the sodomizing.
Yet.
There's so many places to hide a body. And so one day they get this 911 call. This bitch is trying to kill me. Bronson gets the call on his radio. His dispatcher tells him, "Oh, we got a possible murder over at the so-and-so house." "Oh boy, just up my alley. No rape though, right? You hear anything about a rape?" No rapes. Just sounds like a routine stabbing. Something about a last dance being involved. Oh boy.
I like dancing.
So basically Bronson comes up and he sees Shirley pacing around in the window. He goes, "Oh boy." And then he grabs his gun, makes sure it's loaded, cocks it back, knocks on the door, answers, "Yeah, there ain't gonna be no talking." If it was Bronson, that barrel would be doing the talking, Chris, and you know that damn well. She's got a gun.
Stop resisting.
Ma'am, don't resist.
God damn it. Oh, shit.
Thanks again for joining us on another episode of The Grindbin. If you want to find out more about us, grindhousefilm.com. Go there and comment on every post that we do. For every episode, we have a blog post that we write about it with some pictures, and we got a couple listeners that are always going on there leaving great comments. If you have any information about this movie that we didn't know, or any information about any movie we didn't know, please leave it there. You can also tweet at us at GrindPod on Twitter. We're on Instagram, Facebook, wherever social media sites find you, we're there.
And don't forget that hit that purple rectangular subscribe button in iTunes. We will be ever so grateful.
And if you like this show, please rate and review us on iTunes. And we still have a promotion going. If you rate and review this show on iTunes and you want us to cover a movie, we'll fucking do it. Put it right to the top of the bin.
Yeah.
And you know what? We won't even watch it. We'll go in fucking cold. And you've seen what happens when we do that. Lunch wagon.
No names, David.
And we just recently covered one, Last American Virgin, by our great listener, Kevin, who left us a rate and review on iTunes. Thanks again, Kevin. You rock. And boy, did you pick a better movie than David. But David made up for it because he also found The Roommates, which is one of the greatest movies possibly ever made.
Agreed.
He sent me one the other day you're going to like, which is an Australian movie that only takes place on planes, and it's called Pacific Banana.
Sold. So one, please.
One, please. Yeah, Chris, I think there's a lot of going down under on that one, if you know what I mean. You know?
Again, thank you. Happy Halloween from the Grindbin podcast. Bobby, fill up that jack-o'-lantern. Are we announcing next month's coverage?
Oh yeah, you might hear that music coming under us.
Oh, shit!
That's right, John Farnham. He's back from episode 5 of the Grindbin.
We've been building this up. We've been saying there was a surprise.
Chris?
Mike?
The whole month of November, 5 episodes are going to be a theme month. And if you can't tell by the music already, it's Blairvember. That's right. 5 straight episodes of Linda Blair movies. Mm-hmm. Oh boy, and do we find some classics. We got boogieing, we got horror, we got women in prison, we got all sorts of shit coming. We even got a comedy thrown in there. This is gonna be one hell of a fucking month. Blairvember.
So puff up that perm, lock and fucking load. Happy Halloween from the Grindbin podcast.
Hey, Bobby, I got the money.
Yeah, I made the team. But you're a hooker.
Get that goddamn thing out of your mouth.
Spooky ain't got no real poetry.
Hello, pizza man.
We're gonna play a little game, baby.
I just love fun and games. Get a little girl all hot and horny.
You could have been decent once in a while. And maybe Daddy would decide to kill himself because he couldn't get it up anymore.
What a shame.
Come on, just step on the gas before we get creepy.
And more.